And we're back. Hello, everybody. My name is Dylan. Thanks for joining me today for Twitching UpStream. It's a show that Some Nobodies puts on most Tuesdays. It's been a minute since we did our last one. Life generally finds a way to get in the way. Zach will not be here today, so we're going to do a writing-focused episode instead of doing the kind of like story development that we usually do. Yeah, like I said, it's been a minute since we last were here. Moving, vacations, illness, the state of the world tends to get in the way sometimes, but we're back for now at least. And I am going to be continuing a discussion on what we did last time, which I think was in April. It's been almost a month since we did this last, but in April we did a story about it was generated from a writing prompt, or not a writing prompt. It was generated from a story generator, which sometimes can be really good for inspiration. Sometimes it just spits out nonsense that you can't really use. This was kind of one of those times, so we had to do a lot of dressing up. But the original pitch was, it's about a promiscuous archer with a peculiar lack of magical talent. It takes place in a military outpost. It begins with when someone reveals their feelings. It climaxes with an inheritance, and it ends with a delusion. The nature of magic is changing, and that plays an important role in the story. That is the original prompt that we chose, or I chose, and then Zach came in later. He might be coming in later in this episode, but that's not a guarantee. So I spent a little bit of time before he showed up, and we worked out what we were going to do with the story. And we came up with this interesting world where human beings are the smallest of the sapient fantasy kind of like species. Everything's giant. The giants are protectors of nature because magic comes from the moon, and magic is limited to bloodlines, but that's slowly changing. Main character is a scion of a magical bloodline, doesn't know who it is, but is on the dispatch because they still have the name. So they're using that famous name, which they think they assumed, to make themselves appear to be kind of a big deal. They're not really a big deal. But humanity has these magical forces named archers, and what archers do is they use these very, very large kind of like javelins, pretty much. They're like 40-foot long, like 5-foot thick javelins that they will mentally lift up the magic and use to fight giants. And we can extend that idea a little bit as we talk about magic. But what I wanted to do today is just come up with like a real brief outline. We had discussed doing it as a graphic novel, which I think is still appropriate. A, budgetary concerns, because doing high fantasy stuff drains that budget like you wouldn't believe. B, if you don't have the budget to do it anyway, you have to skimp on something. In this case, I could imagine it being similar to what Paramount Plus is doing with the Halo series, where they start off with a large-scale fight at the start, looks great, and then it just drops off in quality because the budget was blown on the first and last episodes. So I'm going to put up this shared screen doc right now. This is our note document. If you watch our last episode, which I think was on April 24, whatever that Tuesday was, you'll see what our note-taking process is. And it comes out with a really, really messy bundle of words, rough ideas, half-developed ideas, old ideas, stuff that we are not going to keep a hold of. So I wanted to go through and just kind of codify some stuff as we can. So, beat sheet. Usually a beat sheet, usually you're further along developed in the process than this. So I'm just going to take us a real rough one. So standard story outline. And we're just going to, as these writing episodes tend to do, I'm not nearly as organized as Zach. I'm not quite so good at putting on a show. So this is like a behind the scenes look into how this operates when I am just trying to spit ideas onto a piece of paper so I can eventually turn that idea into something written, and who knows, we'll get a deal with like Image Comics or one of the other smaller presses. So we're gonna start not with a beat sheet. I'm gonna keep these pretty separated. Instead, we are going to start with, let's see, Blue Shoe Nick says, can't hang, just wanted to say, heart some nobodies, and that human should actually be the smallest sapiens, and maybe the world would be better. Food for thought. Thank you, Blue Shoe Nicks. Bummer you can't hang, but we'll be here more regularly from now on. So we're going to do a plot outline right now, or a premise pitch, rather. We met, we had, who was it? It was the director of motivational growth. I feel really embarrassed because I can't remember his name, but it's been a long time now. It was Don Thacker, I believe, on our show Talking UpStream, which you can watch on Sundays. We interviewed him, and when we pitched our ideas, he very politely and respectfully tore us new ones for not pitching pitches, but pitching premises. And that's accurate. A pitch is actually pretty constructed and it tends to have a format. So when you pitch something, you go with a developed idea. And what we were mostly doing was pitching ideas that we would eventually develop into stories, which would have their pitches. So this is what the premise is. In a world where humanity is outmatched and outsized, the empires, and we're just using generic terms here. If I was writing this out as an actual story, I would give it a name and a history and like an identity. But right now, we're just using familiar terms so people who see this are going to be able to recognize the tropes, because the tropes are going to anchor people into the actual meat of the story. In a world where humanity is outmatched and outsized, the Empire survives through the use of magical archers, or through the use of archers. And you know it's important because the A is capitalized. Through the use of archers, magic users who utilize oversized weaponry to fend off humanity's larger foes. When the once peaceful giants begin a mysterious war against humanity, one roustabout, and I use roustabout to mean someone unskilled, maybe not roustabout, one lazy guy. I'm not going to put lazy guy because that's a bad pitch word. And I'm not trying to make this super nice because this is obviously a first proto draft. One nobody, why not? We'll say nobody. One nobody realizes their unforeseen potential in the face of a grand conspiracy, because of course there's a cabal of human beings, archers, who want to push the moon away from the planet so that magic is accessible to everybody. And the giants don't want that to happen because when you move the moon, it causes ecological devastation, and that's not good. So that's our premise pitch. This is probably what you would see in on the Netflix main screen when you're looking through stories, or if you have whatever comic book subscription service there is. I'm sure there is one. I don't know what it's called. But you would this is what you would see to try and get people to open it up and try it out. So we're just going to do plot outline. It's going to be a very, very, very loose plot outline. It is going to be primarily this happens, then this happens, then this happens, because then this happens, that happens, the end. When you normally outline stuff and pitch stuff, you want to avoid and then, but I'm not showing anybody this in a professional manner except for you. This is just for my own way to keep things in mind. So, main character is a porter, someone who carries things in a remote human military camp. They use a famous last name to, I don't know, use a famous last name to trick others into taking them seriously, get out of work, and earn companionship because he's promiscuous, so we got to make him like charismatic. It's like, hey, I'm related to someone famous, so come at me. I don't know. I obviously clearly I don't know what that is. The famous last name to trick other than get out of work and earn companionship. They are an underachiever, though the under is questionable because they have yet to show much skill at anything except avoiding work. But then the camp is attacked by giants and their ants. There was something, I don't know if it was a pun, but we had an idea about giant ants, and I think giant ants are creepy. It makes me think of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and the ant that dies when the scorpion stings it, and I cried and cried and cried as a kid because I was a softie. But we're gonna have giants. We're gonna have weird giants. Let's be weird about it. We're gonna have everything be huge in this except people. The people are gonna be small, and they're ant uh, war dogs. I mean, war dog metaphorical. Uh, in the chaos, MC gets whisked away with a band of archers who escape in who escape. We don't need to qualify when they escape because we already said in the chaos. Um, on the run, they have to adjust to a lack of resources, constant giant attacks, and the question of why the giants have suddenly grown so aggressive against humanity. Uh, they set off. I think the first bit of this, a lot of this is going to be them trying to get back to where they're going. I think we're probably going to do like a 4-act thing where it's the first act is the attack and the run. Second act is getting their feet under them. Third act is fighting back, and the fourth act after the reveal is some sort of high magic showdown thing. They set off across the wilderness, braving the elements and hostile flora and fauna, because we're doing like a high fantasy thing. So the plants are mean, the animals are mean, the people are mean, the landscape is probably mean. Uh, Hostile elements, flora, fauna, as they run to the next safe spot, another military outpost. But when they arrive, they find the outpost has also been attacked, but they find a way to access the communication back to the uh, back to the capital. We're just gonna capital. That's something that I always get wrong. Is capital has an O. I don't have any mnemonic for you. I'm sorry. Just know that it's one of those that you should get correct when you can, unlike me just now. Let's go back and look at the pitch originally that Zach and I came up with. We got magic is limited to bloodlines. I think we could probably have a bit where the main character shows he has some aptitude for it, and maybe his bloodline is real. Let's see, arranged marriages. World Soul decides everybody is going to be getting magic. Let's see, nature stuff. Last name orphan. Let's see. What do we got? Okay. I can tell you what we got. We got a fair amount of dead air, which Zach manages to avoid because he's charismatic and I'm just trying my best. But they find a way, access communication back to the capital. The capital reassures them that they should. What should they do? Let's see. Unbeknownst to MC and friends, the Archer Cabal, again, we've got the evil magical group in the background manipulating things, has taken over and started Operation Moon Push. Obviously, all placeholder stuff. We'll go in, we'll give them a fantasy name, whatever. I'm seeing this is like I'm seeing a lot of mountains. I'm seeing a lot of like brush. I'm seeing kind of northern, so it's going to be cold. Maybe some Scandinavian style names. Schnurri. They'll have the little dots, the umlaut over it. Started Operation Moonpush, but the capital contact reassures the archers that things are under control because they are always under control, and that they should counter attack after reconvening with the Empire's main army at Rendezvous. The Archer party, or I'll just say MC party pushes through the wilderness and meets up with the army. The no nonsense commander absorbs their party into the military, and they're going to strike back at the giants. MC is concerned because on their journey, they interacted with earphones. MC is concerned because they interacted with a friendly giant who. Nah, I don't like that. I don't like that either. MC is concerned because the giants, while not friendly, never used to be outright hostile. Something must have prompted this change. MC also shows. I'm going to go back here. Along the way, they encounter a giant patrol and fight them off. MC demonstrates some magical ability and tactical thinking, which is weird because magic shouldn't just show up for people. It's always hereditary and never manifests otherwise. Anyway, they also meet some kind of neutral giant who helps them with some minor problem, supplies or something. It's just to show, there's always shades of gray and stuff like that. Okay. They meet up with the army, or maybe there's a giant working with them. Half giant. There's a half giant working with them who serves as the heart character. The heart character is an archetype you'll find in the Save the Cat beat sheet, who anchors the main character's moral decisions and serves as kind of the voice of reason when things get dark. Okay, MC is concerned about the giants. Something must have prompted this change. Half Heart. I'm just going to call them Heart. Heart gets targeted and relegated to manual labor because they're big and giant blooded. So we see the Empire is anti-giant. I mean, we already know they're anti-giant, but we really see the hostility that the system can implement on people who really have not had any chance to prove themselves as nice or not other. Because that, unfortunately, is how systemic power structure works. Now that they're teamed up with the army, MC gets marched out to the front where the giants are doing pretty well against the Empire. The archers are doing their thing. It's violent. It's upsetting. It's war. We don't romanticize it. Because of course we don't. What kind of fucking person romanticizes the war? Um, don't answer that question in the chat. Doing your thing, it's violent. And MC displays some kind of magical ability once again, and so do other people in the army. That's weird and draws the attention of the commanders. Commanders pull them aside one night and start up a trainee regiment. We meet a bunch of random people, uh, reincorporate some minor characters who survived the assault on the army outpost at the start of the story. Kind of Starship Troopers. I really like how Starship Troopers does that. I think it's really neat. The training is intense and takes a while, and we see the war effort take its toll as time passes. Time skip to a year or so later, the MC and others have developed some kind of magical skill, not just talent, skill, where they can work together to throw smaller but still big stuff at giants. Auxiliary archers. And I'm going to capitalize them so everybody knows they're important. The auxiliary archers. MC and friends are sent on an important last ditch effort. Not last ditch. MC and friends are sent on the main assault against the Giants' regional headquarters. It's violent and messy and not very well thought out. But they're all weird new magic users, so Command doesn't really care. MC survives with distinction and is met with and is summoned by a mysterious person who claims to know their father. Psych. It's their relative, and we get some exposition. There's a secret cabal of archers. No. The moon gives humanity magic. The moon gave humanity magic? It was something about... Okay. What is the moon? Okay. Magic is given by the moon. Okay. We're going to go a little crazier on this. The moon is the half-dead corpse of humanity's first god. It gives humanity magic. No. Yeah. It originally gave humanity magic. Yeah, okay, we're going to do the opposite. We're not going to have them push the moon out of orbit. We're going to have them try and bring the moon closer so more humans can get magic. And of course, the issue is that if you don't calculate it carefully, the moon will crash into the planet and kill everybody. And gave the original progenitors of the magic bloodlines their magic. Giants exiled or killed or somehow betrayed the moon. We'll figure this out later. and pushed it into orbit. The Archer Cabal is going to pull the moon closer to the planet so more humans have magic, and therefore humans can fight the giants with more efficiency and finally eliminate them. MC doesn't like this because, of course, I don't. We can't have a character. You can't have your main character endorse genocide. I don't feel like I have to explain that much further. Okay. So you can fight humans with fight giants with more efficiency and finally eliminate them. Doesn't like this, which rubs their which rubs the mysterious person the wrong way. A fight ensues, but MC escapes with their fledgling magic skills and the help of their friend from the first act and the half giant. The three escape the military camp, but are branded traitors and consigned to death on sight. In the wilderness, it looks like things will end poorly for them, but they're saved by a few giants who are willing to hear them out. The giants hold some kind of trial during which half giant, I'm just going to call them HG, during which HG pleads some kind of kinship and vouches for MC and friend. The giants are hesitant but willing to hear them out. Okay. So this is kind of like that second act turn. The human archers. Okay, hold on. The archer all have pulled the moon dangerously close to the planet. The human troops are more powerful with their magic, so this is turning into Majora's Mask a little bit, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think that's Majora's Mask, where the moon is getting closer to the planet, and it's got the mean face, and then all the giants push it back. Shoot. This is a situation where I don't care that this has been done before. It happens. You have an idea and you have some sort of like early on intuition about what you're doing with it. And there's no such thing. I'm going to fall back on a saying that Zach and I really rely on, which is that there is no such thing as an original idea. And in this situation, that's very true. Human magic, so they are assaulting the giant HQ with more fervor. MC and HG and friend have to lead a stealth attack against the Archer Cabal and sneak into the human camp. They fight and end up winning, but not soon enough to prevent the moonfall. Starring Roland Emmerich. Yeah, Roland Emmerich is going to be the main character in this. Why not? Prevent the moonfall. The human soldiers. No. The giants are sad, but ultimately use their own ability and life force to repel the moon back into space, but it's further out now. So humanity, no, we're not going to do that. But it's in a lower. We're staying true to the original pitch, which was nature of magic is changing, and everybody is going to be able to do magic. But it's in a lower orbit, so now magic is even more widespread. This promises an upheaval in the empire because now the peons can throw stuff at the rich. Commentary. Unfortunately, the giants are mostly dead now. Not dead now. We see some enclaves have survived, but the problem is now humankind's. MC and co. Set out to find the rest of the Archer Cabal and set humanity on a kinder course. It's not perfect, but that's how we're going to kind of end this. So that is, I mean, you saw how I wrote that out. I literally just kind of narrated then, and then this happens, that happens. But we've got, your rising action that starts stuff where they are attacked and they run through the wilderness and they think they find salvation, then they don't, and then they think they find salvation and it looks like they did, but then they learn what it really is. And then they get wrapped up in some bad stuff and things get kind of dark. They meet up with some people who might help them. They meet up with some people they think might help them but don't. Yeah, you have your little like rush to the end where they're attacking the camp and then they meet with the giants while the camp is being attacked, and then the giants give their lives to end things. So that is the main outline. Obviously, I would go through and make sure this is cleaner if I was going to do something with it. So what I'm going to do now, here's a beat sheet. I know that when Zach and I had done this original episode, we had discussed doing this as a graphic novel, which I think is still great. I would love to do a graphic novel like this, but it does mean that I'm going to be going through and doing some beats on this. And this beat sheet assumes I think it's a 90-page, roughly a 90-page thing, which is cool. A graphic novel script I wrote like 2 or 3 in college, and that was the last time I did it. A graphic novel script is going to be a lot of dialogue and a very, very rough description of what the visuals of each panel are going to look like across the page. I am not going to do that right now. Instead, what I'm going to do is lay out these story beats as if I was doing a beat sheet. So, usually how this works is that each one of these, Act 1, plot point, all of these little things are going to have like, actually, let me copy and paste a different version of this that I am going to fill. There we go. Let me get this up to font size so you can read it at home on your screen. There we go. So what I've done, I've gone through and set the beat sheet to 9 bullet points here. Each one with important stuff that we would have to hit inside. Now, what these are going to be is that each of these bullet points should have 3 scenes, and each of these scenes should further the story in some way. The criticism that is often levied against the idea of a beat sheet, which uses a formula such as this adapted from Save the Cat, is that it leads to a very formulaic thing. And it does. The best way to point this out is that, like, at roughly the 20-minute mark, you have the character set off on the quest. You have the character meet up with someone who kind of opens their eyes. Trinity in the nightclub in the Matrix is my go-to description of what Save the Cat kind of delivers. That first Matrix is very, very straightforward Save the Cat, which is fine. But then you wind up with a story structure that's very similar to The Matrix, which isn't a bad thing. So, what we're going to do here, we're going to do 3 scenes. I'm going to go through, man, excuse me, I'm feeling a little. Usually Zach's here to fill the air. And I don't normally talk this much, so my throat's starting to feel it. We're going to do all of these kind of things. So obviously, the first scene, MC is flirting with, and I'm seeing the main character as a male because, I mean, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. But if I slip into using male pronouns, that's just going to be what it is for right now. Flirting with someone, we see their charisma on screen. We see they are not discriminated against, but they are treated poorly due to their position. They feel ill at ease with how they work. Things don't work out, so they go back to work. And during the incitement incident, we have to tie the antagonist to the character. MC is helping the rest of the porters load up the javelins. It's hard work, and the archers in camp are mean to them because they're haughty nobles. We meet. I might not meet Friend yet. No, we don't meet Friend yet. That's during the later ones. MC or camp receives word of oncoming giant attack. Scout returns with injuries and is only one of group sent out. Attack comes on. It's big and it's big and wrecks stuff. Chaos reigns like the wolf, not the wolf, jeez. The fox in Antichrist. Chaos reigns and things go badly. Things go badly. Let's see. So, in the debate, the main character tries to fight change. Whoa. And we introduce the heart character. The heart character is the meet cute if it's a rom-com, the best friend if it's something like that. Sam Gamgee is the heart of the Lord of the Rings as far as like character roles go. MC is shell shocked, but friend helps pull them out of it. The two, along with some of the archers, escape the attack. The group is pursued by some giants and have to escape there. And have to escape. Yeah, there we go. MC has to reconcile that despite the fact that the military outpost was destroyed, they are currently running around with ranking military people. They have the option to escape into the wilderness, but don't because friend is too entangled. So they stay behind to help their friend. It's nice. So this is the true beginning of the story, moment of conflict pushing into Act 2. The group led by Archer decides to sneak through the wilderness under the giants' noses and find the nearest outpost. Introduce HG as downtrodden porter friend. Wilderness. We'll have a wilderness encounter. I don't know. Giant ants smell their rations and have to be fought off. Scene 3. Some uh, elements cause trouble, tents aren't waterproof enough, and things go badly. Morale is low, and the archer discipline doesn't help. But the nearby outpost is closer, and they will reach it tomorrow or soon. All right, the pinch. The pinch focuses on the central conflict and ushers the story forward. This is Morpheus, not Morpheus. This is Neo getting sneaking through the office. This is Neo getting the bug planted in his stomach and then getting rescued and taken to the weird haunted house that Morpheus has in the Matrix. The party approaches the outpost. The giant pursuit is closing in, and they don't have much time. A run and gun encounter with giants leaves their supplies ragged and everybody spread out. MC and friend and HG consider desertion, but it's safer in the outpost. Let's see. They reach the outpost and it's abandoned. Uh-oh. And the giants are approaching as well. Even more uh-oh. Let's see where we are in the outline. Okay, so let's see. Hart gets targeted and relegated to manual labor because they're big and giant-blooded, so we see the Empire's anti-giant. Maybe there's a half-giant working with them. Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. So they need to find a way to communicate with the capital. Wilderness encounter. And during this point, MC displays magical talent for first time. Yeah. Run and gun encounter. Friend displays magical talent for first time. This third scene could probably go in the fifth plot point because it's very much the death part. But here we're going to introduce the antagonist, and we have a crescendo with the Hart character. HG has mild panic related to giant aggression. MC and friend, I guess we should start calling friend Hart. MC and Hart, that's going to be the next. Yeah. Archer realizes the outpost has a grapevine or whatever it's called. MC and Hart discuss magical abilities. It's a big deal because if anyone has magic, it means the nobility doesn't have a cosmic hierarchy above them. Archer, the antagonist, contacts the Empire, learns the army is nearby. They can probably reach them in a day or 5. Pinch. This reflects the first pinch, reveals remaining emotional and physical challenges. The first pinch was them running to the outpost. This is them running from the outpost. You see how it kind of mirrors each other. It's like circles. It rhymes. Poetry. Whatever. George Lucas. You know what it is. Party resists a giant attack on the outpost it goes, okay, but the giants regroup and threaten them later. MC and friend use new magic abilities to help their party escape to the nearby army. The party reunites with the army, and the commanders share info about escalating magical abilities. This is plot point 2. This is the point of no return for the character. This is where you get a new weapon, strength, or knowledge. This is where they acknowledge their magical abilities. MC and friend are trained with magic. HG is treated badly. Sorry, buddy. It happens. Time passes. The war escalates. MC learned of magical heritage and moonfall. Doesn't like it. MC and MC Hart and HG escape camp and go warn the giants about moonfall. Because now, you got the running from the giants to the outpost, running from the outpost to the army, running from the army to the giants. Resurrection. Using tools from point 1 and 2, they choose a second death and rebirth. MC and co. abandon empire associations and tell the giants everything. HG uses giant ties to help secure alliance. MC and co. help giants hold off empire military. Let's go double check our outline real quick. I want to see how I ended this thing. Yeah, they sneak attack the archer camp. Okay, cool. MC and co. help lead giant attack on army to decapitate archer cabal. Character returns to people with their gifts. The heart has the ultimate conclusion, reflecting their change. Support character recognizes and might implement change, and then the antagonist suffers their ultimate defeat. So let's see. MC and co. fight archer cabal. It goes badly until friends from camp pitch in and defeat leader. Giants help repel the moon, give their life force die. Common people rise up against despot. Light on the horizon. We did it. We outlined an entire movie out of that story. 27 scenes. You make each one about 3 minutes. You have about a 90-minute movie. It's about a weird magical archer thing. They fight. There are giants. It's pretty cool. I don't know if we're ever going to touch this project again, but this is just a display of how you can speed run a beat sheet. That's writing. The main display here that I want you to take from this is that you can put whatever garbage you want on the page, and if you distill it and you practice it and you expand it and go back and look at it and give it some time, sit down and write it, even the best turd can be shined into a diamond. It's all carbon at its base. It's all the base components you need to make a good story. You can see how we had the emotional rise and the impact. You can see how the story moved from one point to the next. We might do something similar like this later, but I needed to get out here and put something on here because it's been a long time since you've seen us and we've seen you. It's been even longer for Zach, but he'll be back sooner rather than later. I want to shout out to Zach for doing all of our art, all of our show notes, getting all of our guests for Talking UpStream and PowerPoint Showdown, anything like that. I want to shout out Michael Colby for letting us drag him through our wake and get him on our shows. You can find everything we do at Some Nobodies. That is Silicon Angels, CYOP, PowerPoint, Showdown, which airs live Mondays on our Facebook page. You can find it on our YouTube page on Thursdays a few weeks after. Talking UpStream every Sunday. We interview our guests. We have No Time to Binge, the award-winning podcast, every other Wednesday. This upcoming Wednesday, I think on the 26th, 25th, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow, the 25th, we are doing Santa Clarita Diet. First and the last episode, we make up the middle. PowerPoint Showdown, we make up a bunch of PowerPoints. Everybody has to present them blind. Go check out everything we're doing. Love it. Love it when you support us. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, subscribe, ring the bell, whatever the hell that means. I don't know. Usually Zach has a more pithy outro because he's the host and he's the face, and you can tell. But in the meantime, I've been Dylan. You've been the audience. And great. You're great. We're all great. We're all great here. I'm going to get out of here because I am going for far too long. Have a good rest of your night. We'll see you again later. Bye.